fine. I guess we are live now, and yeah, pop out the chat so that, okay, got that. Let me just say hi to everybody. Okay, and yeah, okay, so let's just wait for 1 minute max, and then we'll start the development. Okay, let me just rearrange few things. Okay, yeah, and let me just okay. I think we are all set for now. Yeah, let me just close this as well. Okay. Okay, I guess let's wait 1 more minute before we start the development. Okay, so yeah, someone came. Okay, so let's start our session live event today. Let me walk you through the agendas of today's live event. First, we will understand Python Flask server. Then we will connect our Dialogflow agent to that Python Flask server. Then we will understand how Dialogflow sends a request and receives a message from our Python Flask server. Then we will understand how to manage context through our Python Flask server, and finally I'll show you a way to persist data into a session created by Dialogflow, so that, let's say, in a case of user logs in for the first time, and you keep the login information into the session, and every time you respond, you check for the login information. If it is there, you will consider the request as a legitimate request. Otherwise, you will ask for the login information. So this is one kind of use of keeping the data into the session of the Dialogflow. So these are the few things that we want to understand. Before we move forward, there are a few tools that you need. First, you need to have knowledge of Google Dialogflow. Then you need to get NGRock. Okay, NGRock is a tunneling tool, internet tunneling tool. So what happens is that our code is on local machine and Dialogflow is on web. So Dialogflow doesn't have the access to our local machine. So with the help of NGRock, we will create a tunnel between our local host and internet, so that the development is then easy. What you need to do is download this, okay, for Windows or Linux or Mac. For Windows, I guess you should download it from here, okay, instead of using Choco. You download it and you need to log in. Once you log in, you will get a authentication token. You need to run this command first, NGRock config add -auth token and your token. Once you do that, then it will be ready for use. So let's say the NGRock is in some folder. You go to that folder, open terminal, and I'm showing this way for Windows, and then you say that like NGRock dot exe http and the port number. This is for Windows, but since I'm on Linux and I can access NGRock from anywhere on my computer, so I'll say NGRock http and the port number. Now the port number must be the port number on your local host, so that you can expose it. Sir, what is the use case of this, like application of making these? Yeah, so we are building a connection between Dialogflow and our own server, with which we can access outside information. So yeah, let me hopefully, yeah, I hope the screen is visible now. Okay, so the first thing I'll be doing is that instead of sharing, because anyway I'm sharing everything, so let me share my whole screen. Okay, so the first thing we will doing is creating our virtual environment. So I'm having Python 3.10, but you can use 3.11 or any Python version. The steps will be same. So Python -m for module, and I'm going to use venv module, and I'm going to call my virtual environment venv. I'll hit enter. Yeah, so this will create a virtual environment. Let me create a git ignore file first, and I'll say venv, and I also want to exclude PyCache as well. I'll save this. Next I'll source my virtual environment, or you can say activate, venv bin and activate. You can see I'm now inside my virtual environment. If you are new to virtual environment, what you can do is that you can search for Python virtual environment and go to this 12th article, and you will read all about it. This is the way you create it, and this is the way you activate Windows, and this is the way you activate it on Linux or Mac OS. And in case you are using Windows and you are new to this, I request you to use command prompt instead of PowerShell. Sometimes PowerShell faces permission issues. So now I'm a virtual environment. Let me clear the screen, and I'll first pip install -u pip to upgrade the pip version. Then the next thing I'm going to do is pip install Flask to build my server. Yeah, and I'll create few things here. First src, then let's say views. I'll not do that. Src, and then run dot py, and very quickly I'll also install Gunicon for production level server, and I'll say pip freeze to requirements dot txt file. Okay, hopefully if time permits we will deploy it on server as well. Okay, so under source I'll create one file __init __ .py, and I'll create let's say app.py. So here we'll write our server. So I'll say from Flask import Flask, and I'll create app that is equals to Flask class, and we need to provide __ name to initiate that, and let's say app route, let's say home route, and I'll say def handle _ home, it is def _ home parenthesis and colon, and I'll say return okay and 200 status. Let me save this. Now there are multiple ways to run the file, but I usually go for a run.py, where I'll write the run command and run this file whenever I want to, and my server logic will stays here. So I'll say from src.app import app, and I'll say if __ name equals to __ main __ then app dot run, and I'll say debug equals to true. Okay, and now hopefully if I say python run.py, oops, yeah, you'll see that my local server is up and running. I can click here, yeah, and we'll see that my local server is running completely fine. So we have successfully built our server. Now let's understand. If I go to Dialogflow, yeah, webhook request and response, and since we are using the essential version, yeah, since we are using essential version, you will read that a webhook service. So webhook service requirements, so it says that it must handle HTTPS request. HTTP is not allowed. If you host your webhook server on Google Cloud platform using a computer or serverless something, you need to provide SSL certificate. That's okay. Now URL request must be publicly accessible, so your URL must be accessible. It must handle post request and this JSON request body. So let's look into this JSON request body. So that means Dialogflow will send something like this. Okay, Dialogflow will send something like this. So let's first create a route where we will handle post request. So app dot route, let's say my route name is webhook, and methods will be post, and I'll say def handle webhook, and I'll say return okay and 200. So when I save this, let me just open terminal for a bit. So when I save this, you will see that detected a change in this file and reloading. So I don't have to watch terminal all the time. Whenever I make changes into the file or any of the file into this root folder, the application will restart. So now what I'll do is that if you see here, my server is running on 5000 port. So I will start my NGRock on 5000 port, and I'll say NGRock HTTP 5000. I'd hit enter, and it will provide me a public URL. So if I click on it and view site, you'll see OK response. So this is our public URL. Now I'll go to let me first delete this too, because I don't need them. I'll go to fulfillment, and I'll just provide my URL followed by webhook, because my route name is webhook. Okay, so I'll come here and I'll say webhook, and I'll save this. Now I'll come here, let me just clear a few things. I'll remove the response, and I'll say call the fulfillment. Okay, I'll save this. Now if I say hi here, so this will invoke default welcome intent, as you can see here, but the response is not available. If I go to this diagnostic info, you will see that Dialogflow has sent this request, and this is, this is the same request that this documentation shows, but this is sample request, and here is actual request. And you'll see fulfillment response. So okay, so you can see that we have indeed sent a response. Okay, and if you go to fulfillment status, you will see that webhook failed, error, failed to parse webhook JSON response. So that means they try to parse our response and show it into the console or simulator, but it failed because it did not in a format that Dialogflow anticipate. So let me go here again in the documentation. We have seen this request. Let's first catch the request as well. So in order to catch the request, we need to import module, and I'll say the body of the request equals to request.getJSON, and let me print the body. Okay, let me save this, and let me hit the URL again. I'll say hi. Yeah, and yeah, you see we got a bunch of information. This is the request, and if let's say this is 6318. So if I come here and go here and fulfillment request, you will see that yeah, it is 6318. So these are the information now received on our local server. Now we can process this information and do whatever stuff we want to do. But now our response is not accepted by Dialogflow. So let's look into that. So this is the webhook response, and the response that Dialogflow returns to the end user updates to context active for the conversation. So you can update the context. a custom payload to be sent to integration or detect intent client. This is different thing. So now text response, you should send this type of response. So let me copy that. And in order to send a JSON response, we need to import JSONify. And I'll say JSONify this thing. Okay, yeah, let me very quickly pip install auto pep 8 so that I can format the code very easily. Yeah, and let me clear the screen and let me run the file. Okay, so now I can format this very quickly, and I'll replace all the double quote with single quote. It is not necessary though. So now we need to send this kind of JSON response that must have a property called fulfillment messages. That will be a list, and inside that there is an object which has a property text, which is again a list, which has again a property called text, which is a list, and inside that you will keep your message. And you can, let me first see if this works or not. So I'll go here and I'll say hi. This time you'll see that the response is text response from webhook. You can send 2 responses as well. So I'll copy this and I'll paste this. I'll say, let's say first response, second response. Let me save this. If I come here and if I say hi, hopefully, yeah, you'll see first response and second response. Okay, so this is the way you can respond to Dialogflow's request. So now let me copy this for a bit and let me create a new folder. Let's say utils. Inside that I'll create __init__.py, and I'll create let's say helper _functions.py. Okay, and here I'll say def format Dialogflow _response, and let me paste this here. So that means, let's say response data that is equals to this thing, and let's say, okay, let me do this way. So oops, yeah, let me do this way. So what I'll do, that I'll receive messages that will be list of string, and then I'll loop over these messages and create this object. So at this point, when the process will start, it will be an empty list. Okay, and then I'll for message in messages, I'll say response data, then fulfillment messages dot append, and then I'll append this thing. Okay, I hope you understand this very clearly. Okay, and this will be my message. Okay, and I will return the response data. Okay, let me see if I have a message. Okay, no message here. Okay, so this is now the function is work, means it will work hopefully. So what I'll do is that I'll say from utils dot helper functions import format a Dialogflow response, and here I'll say let's say format Dialogflow response, and my messages will be again, let's say first message and second message. Okay, so yeah, so let me test it here. I'll say hi, and hopefully, yeah, first message and second message, and someone is saying something here. Can it be done to connect two apps also? Please cover. Yeah, you can connect, multiple agent to the same webhook. Okay.
Sir, in this case, I am only asking this question. मैं एक बारी पूछ लूँ sir या after this call?
No, we
All
will
right,
have
can
a
I?
separate question answer session. No
All right,
problem.
all right. I will ask them.
Sure.
Sure, thank you.
So I hope you understand that now we are able to send response back to Dialogflow. Now let me very quickly show you how to handle context. So we have now learned how to send response from a webhook to Dialogflow. Now there is one important thing. If you look into this query result, there is action name which is input welcome. So you can separate all your request from this action name. Let me show you. If I come to this intent, the action name is this. Let's say I'll say default welcome intent. So now my action name is this. So I can here get the action like this. Action equals to body, then query result, then action. Okay, and let me just print the action. Okay, and if I come here and if I say hi, okay, hopefully, oh, I'll say hi. Yeah, you'll see that first message, second message, and in the back end you'll see that the action name is default welcome intent. So what you can do is okay, you can separate the incoming request by action name. So someone was asking how to connect two apps. So I hope you now understand that you can connect multiple apps, and in each app you give action name different, and you can access the action name here, and then do different stuff based on the action name you received. Okay, so this is the first information that you should know, and I am sure now we have completed two things from our agenda. First, we have understood how to create the Python Flask server, and we have now successfully connected Dialogflow and our Python Flask server. Now let me show you a quick way to set the context. So let's say user provides name. Okay, and here let's say I am Raj. Let's say this is Raj. My name is Raj. Raj, you can call me Raj. Okay, these are the information, and the response is let's say we will generate a response from backend, but let's say thank you, let's say $person dot name. Okay, let's for just demonstration purpose put this dummy response, and I hope you understand that $person is my entity name, and when you extract system.person, you will have an object, and that has a property name. So that's why I have written $person dot name. Let me save this. But what, so when I save this and when I say my name is Raj, hopefully we will see the response. Oh, let me go here. Okay, let me, since the training is not started automatically, I'll come here. I'll go to ML setting, train, and let's the training finish. Okay, training is finished. Let me refresh this so that it work. Sometimes this happens due to slow internet connection. My name is Raj, and you can say one more time. Let's say my name is Raj. My name is Raj. Okay, you will see that we got the response, thank you Raj, from user provides name. But now I'll confine the use of this intent by saying let's say a context await name in the input context, and let me save this. Yeah, hopefully when I say my name is Raj, yeah, it did not work, but I'll go here and I go to ML setting and hit train. And let's say, yeah, so my name is Raj. Let me try it again. Hopefully, yeah, you'll see now it is falling back to the default fallback intent. So again, yeah, again, okay, it will fall back to default fallback intent because I have set input context. Now let's set the context from backend. So here, so I'll separate my intent if the action name is let me copy from here. So what I'm trying to do is that when someone says hi, I'll set the context so that user provides name intent can be fired. So I'll copy this action name and I'll say if action name is this, then let's say response data equals to I'll create a function default underscore welcome underscore intent, and I'll pass the body, and now I'll say send response data. So here let me very quickly create a file action underscore handlers .py, and I'll say def, and I'll copy this, and this will accept a body that will be a dict, and it will return a dict as well. Pass at this point, and I need to from utils dot helper function import format Dialogflow response. Okay, so now what I was doing here, I'll do it from here, so that my code becomes very clean. From utils dot action handlers import default welcome intent. Yeah, now let me save this, and if I come here, what I'll say that so when you get a request from Dialogflow, you will get a session. Okay, that session will be live for 20 minutes after user's last conversation. So we can get the session. So I'll say session equals to body session. Okay, let's first print the session, and I'll say format Dialogflow response, and my messages will be hi. Let's say this is a chatbot powered by Dialogflow, and I'll say please provide your name. Okay, and let's say this is my response data, and I'll return response data. Okay, yeah, now things are looking good. Yeah, now things are looking good. Okay, so if I come here and if I say hi, so that will invoke default welcome intent, and I think my internet connection is slow, maybe. Yeah, let me python run.py. Let me refresh this. I'm not sure my internet connection is okay, I guess. So when I say hi, yeah, we got the response, hi, this is a chatbot powered by Dialogflow, please provide your name. But when I say my name is Raj, we'll see, sorry, I did not understand, cause user provides name is kept by this await name. So unless the previous conversation set the await name context, this intent cannot be fired. So what I'll do, I'll set the context from here now. So for that, we need to do few things. First, let's understand. Yeah, so when I say hi, you'll see that this is the request. So this request has a property called output context, which has three things: name, lifespan count, and parameters. Okay, so the name must be the session name followed by context and followed by context name. Lifespan count is the count for which you want to keep the conversation active, and these are the parameters that will stay in the conversation. So what I'll do is that if you see here, this is the session name. Okay, so I'll say output context equals to, that must be a list. If you see here, it is a list of object inside which I'll create my first object, that will be name, and that should be, I'll format the string session followed by context followed by the context you want to set. So in my case, I want to set await name. So I'll say await hyphen name. Second thing we need to provide is lifespan count, and I'll say 1. So our output context is ready, but we need to send it into the response. So for that, what I'll do, I'll copy the word and I'll go to helper function, and here I'll accept one more property, output underscore context. That will be list of dict, and we are sending a dict back. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll set the default value to 0. Okay, I'll set the default value to 0. So I'll check if length of output context is greater than 0, then in this response body attach this output context, and that will be equal to our output context, whatever we will send. So here I'll send this output context. Okay, and this is simple Python function thing. We are not doing anything great here. So now this will set the context. So now if I come here and let me reset the context, and when I say hi here, you'll see the magic. You'll see now we got await name context set here, and now if I say my name is Raj, we'll see that, yeah, thank you Raj. Okay, so this is how you can set the context. Okay, this is how you can set the context and move the conversation forward. Let me, okay, yeah. So I hope you now understand how to set context from Dialogflow, Python Flask server as well. Now let's do one thing. I'll set some parameters here. Okay, I'll set some parameters here. So I'll say a different context name. Let's say session hyphen parameters. Okay, and let me give a bigger lifespan count like 100, and here I'll say parameters. Now this can be anything. So first this must be an object, and inside that you can have any properties, anything. So let's say user name equals to, let's say, ABCD 1 2 3 4. Let's say for example user ID equals to, or let's say is active, for example. So we can set boolean as well, true as well. Okay, so I want to keep this parameter in the conversation. So if I now come here and if I say hi, okay, I say my name is Raj. So now you will see that a session parameters context is active now, and if I look into here, you will see the information. You see the information. Okay, username, this. So if I create a new intent, let's say test intent, and I'll say this is a test intent, test again, sample test. I'm just showing this to demonstrate that this information stays here for 100 conversation. So let's say this is a test response, and let me save this. Okay, yeah, and hopefully agent training will start. If it doesn't start, let me go here, ML train. Okay, okay, and if I say test, oops, let me refresh this. Yeah, so this is a test response. Okay, but if you see here session parameters, yeah, that context is still there and we have the information. Okay, and I'm sure you understand that you get the request here, you get the request here. When Dialogflow sends a request, you can get the parameters as well. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to loop over output context, match the context name, and get the parameters. So in this way you will keep the parameter in the session till the session leaves, and make sure to use a higher number here so that it will stay there. So this is how you can, keep the user information into the conversation using your webhook. So I guess this is it from my part. We have understood a couple of things. First, we understood how to create a Python Flask server. We did that. Then how to expose it using NGRock. We did that. Then we connected Dialogflow and our server. Then we understood how to send response from our server to Dialogflow. For that, we have created this beautiful function. Then we understood how to set context through this by using this kind of output context. Then we understood how to keep users information into the session. So when I say hi, you'll see that that information is sent here. Okay, this is the information and it is there. If I provide my name is Raj, it is there. Okay, if I go here, you'll see the information is there in the output context. So this is again, this is it from my part. Let's have a question answer in case somebody have a question. Okay, yes,
Yeah, sir. Can I ask?
yeah, sure.
Sir, in my use case, I have a WooCommerce store. I'm just asking it for like order information fetching. Okay. So I have a WooCommerce store which can be connected via API. Okay. But there is the way you showed is via Python, right? And there is another way also via Axios also, via Node.js method also we can connect, right?
Yeah. So this server can be developed using any technology which accepts HTTPS request and sends HTTP response.
Okay, so which one will be better? Like, I just want when a customer comes asking, like in the Dialogflow context, okay, like the tracking link for order. So I just need Dialogflow to fetch the tracking link from my server, which is based on WooCommerce, and through API just responded back to the customer by Dialogflow.
So yeah, so you are receiving information, okay, action name.
Yes,
You
I'm
will,
getting order number in
yeah,
terms of receiving the information from the customer.
you will get the parameter. What you need to
Okay.
do, go to the database or API,
Okay.
pass the order number. Okay.
Okay.
You will get the response from the API. Just
Okay.
set the response. Okay, like the way we set the response, you set the response. Like
Correct.
we are sending these things, you set the response. Once you set the response, it will shown here. And if the agent is connected to any platform, the platform will receive the same information. For
And
example, yeah.
yeah, you can do. You can do.
Yeah, so for example, this is connected to Telegram, you will receive the same information on Telegram as well.
Okay. And can we validate the responses received, like in case we have a 6-digit order number?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So yeah,
yeah
how to
so
do that?
so you can perform any actions here. Since you get the parameter, you check the parameter. If it validates, means the parameter is valid, you say, you go to these things and generate a response. If the parameter is not valid, you will say that I think there is a typo, and please enter your order number again.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I guess there is no question then.
That's the response.
Yeah, sure. uh, there is a small promotion I want to do, is that I have a course on chatbot development using Google Dialogflow, and I have explained all the things. I'm walking you through the platform. We will take a look at intent, entities, context, and then we will take a look into fulfillment as well. And then I'm showing integration, settings menu, knowledge connector, everything. And then we will build FAQ chatbot, and then we will build a question answer chatbot as well. I have recorded all the videos for that, and I'm uploading them in a very very short future. So in case you want to buy that, you can buy that. It is only 99 INR. So I guess again, this is it from my side. Thank you guys for joining the live session. I hope you have gained some knowledge from this session. And in case you have any queries, you can reach out to me through nest.io or through LinkedIn. Thanks again, and have a good night. Yeah, bye guys.
Yeah, thank you, Raj.
Yeah,
The session was very informative. Thank you.
yeah, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, bye, good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Peace. Yeah, let me stop the session.